Story 2. Normal. The machine was very complex, and even more important. Its functions had to be monitored by numerous people in order to assure that everything was normal. As long as everything was normal, all of the important work was being done and there were no emergencies. The machine was always supposed to be normal. The work was always supposed to get done. As far as anyone could remember, the work always got done, and everything was always normal. Everyone had their instructions, and all of those instructions were supplemented with manuals. The manuals were very detailed about what was normal, and they would always tell you what to do. When you had a question, all you had to do was check the manual. The answers were always simple. There had been extensive training. There were redundancies in place. Everything was interconnected, and all in very normal ways. The system always worked, and that was the most important thing. For example, on one particular day, at one specific time, it was 2 hours into 10's shift. 10 was sitting in their chair and watching the monitors. Everything was operating normally. It was their duty to watch these monitors and make sure everything was normal for 8 consecutive hours, 5 days a week. As long as everything was normal, there was nothing to worry about. 10 liked when there was nothing to worry about. 10 was normally good at their job. Then everything started to change. The machine made a sound it had never made before. At least never that 10 could remember. It was a whistle. It seemed to come from everywhere at once. 10 pulled out the manual from the drawer, because there was no reason to panic. The training had not mentioned the machine making a sound like a whistle that seemed to come from everywhere at once, but the manual would say what to do in that specific situation. The manual would always tell you what to do, and the answer would always be simple. The system would always work. 10 knew this because it had been explicitly stated in the training, and 10 had taken extensive notes. While 10 was looking through the index in search of whistles, they weren't looking at the monitors they were supposed to watch. This was not normal. Normally, they did their job. They were good at their job. They didn't see the lights change from green to amber. They'd never seen that before, either, but they didn't yet know to search the manual for amber lights. Searching the manual for 2 things they'd never seen before would probably be overwhelming. The whistle sound came out of the machine again. 10 was starting to get nervous, and they didn't even seem to realize that there was enough going on to overwhelm them. After a few 10 seconds, they found an entry for whistles in the index. But there were several references. They would have to start at the beginning and work their way through the list. There was no reason to panic. The machine had never had any serious problems. It was absurd to suggest that it would have one now. All of the important work would continue to get done. They flipped to page 433. The whistle sound came out a third time, and then there was a loud click. 10's stomach turned, and they looked up at the machine. The amber lights were there, but they didn't seem important. The green lights 10 expected to see were missing, though. The gears had stopped turning. The machine didn't look like it was doing anything at all. That meant that work wasn't getting done. Important work. That was not normal. 10 was reasonably sure that this was reason to panic. They dropped the manual, and the corner of the binding crushed the second toe on their right foot. There was no time for pain, though. The machine was the priority. The machine was always the priority. 10 swallowed hard, took a deep breath, and picked up the emergency phone. The line clicked to life immediately. A supervisor would answer soon. Someone who knew the machine better. Someone who'd seen more. Someone who'd been trained for specific emergencies. The whistle sounded again. The tired voice came on the line. It was considerably more than 2 hours into the tired voices shift.
What's the emergency?
Hi, the machine stopped.
The voice was no longer tired. The voice was shouting.
What do you mean the machine stopped?
There was a second click. The gears in the machine started turning again. 10 let what was left of their breath out.
Well, it started again.
The voice was lower. Not tired. Relieved.
So everything is normal. Was there a whistle?
There were whistles. 4 whistles, I think, and I've broken a toe. All the lights have also turned amber.
The voice sounded annoyed and confused.
That's impossible. That doesn't make any sense. Everything is normal.
Listen, I told you that everything is not normal. There are several things here that are not normal. Oh,
The whistle sounded again.
what?
The amber lights started blinking slowly.
Spin another whistle. Another one. And the lights have begun blinking now.
The voice was more severe.
Oh, okay. This is very important. What direction are the gears turning?
Turning the way they're always turning, around in a circle.
What other direction could a thing that turned turn, Ten wondered. They did not ask this question out loud. They did not want to distract from the situation at hand. They wanted to do a good job.
No, like a clock or not like a clock?
Ten stared at the gears. They'd never thought of them as clocks. They tried to think of a clock. Their toe hurt terribly and their stomach was roiling. They did not want to make a mistake.
Oh, not like a clock.
The voice was angry again and loud.
Don't you think that would have been an important thing to mention?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry. I never knew which way the gears are supposed to turn. Is this not normal?
Obviously, this is not normal. This has changed.
I see, but you can fix it.
The voice was perplexed.
I can fix it? How could I fix it?
Ten was perplexed.
Well, you're the person who answers the emergency phone. You know which direction is normal, and by that respect, you should know how to make the machine be normal again, right?
The machine isn't supposed to be not normal. The training doesn't tell you what to do if the machine isn't normal because it's not expected to not be normal. The training just tells you how to tell that the machine is being normal so that you know it's being normal, and then you don't get worried when everything stays normal like it always has, and all the important work is getting done, okay?
Okay. So wait, it's not normal that the machine changed, but there's nothing we can do about it because no one knows how to make the machine be normal again.
Okay, I didn't say that.
Yeah, I said that.
All right, I'm gonna make a call on the emergency phone.
Wait, hold up. You have one too?
Okay, I'm talking to you on it, but I want you to get off it so I can connect you to the person who answers the phone when I call. There's a hierarchy to these things. It was all in the training.
But how will I know what the person who answers the emergency phone when the person who answers the emergency phone uses it says to do?
I'll have to tell you. After. The hierarchy.
Ten hung up the emergency phone and stared at the machine. The amber lights were blinking at least twice as fast now, and the machine was clicking periodically even though it wasn't stopping, nor changing direction. At least there were no more whistles. Perhaps the machine had run out of whistle fuel. Perhaps that was what all these changes were about. The emergency phone made a noise like a bell being struck repeatedly at a high rate of speed. Tan had been trained to pick up the phone when it made this particular noise, so they picked up the phone like they were supposed to.
What's the emergency?
The voice on the other end sounded relieved.
Okay. Something is different about the machine.
Ten nodded sagely. They remembered from their training that they might get a call if something was different about the machine. It was important that they conduct themselves according to the proper procedures.
That doesn't sound normal. Perhaps you should describe to me the thing that is different about the machine.
Yes, okay. There were whistling noises, and the lights changed from green to amber, and it stopped. It stopped, and then it started again, but not going like a clock.
Ten looked at the machine, squinting. That description sounded different. They would need to ask more questions.
Are the amber lights blinking slowly at first, but steadily gaining speed?
I don't know.
You would want to know that. That is very important information. Now, were there clicking sounds when the machine stopped and when it started again?
I don't know. The operator didn't mention any clicking sounds.
The operator should have mentioned clicking sounds, whether or not they happened, and more importantly, you should have asked about them. These are all very normal questions. You see, there are procedures in place to ensure that we ask these normal questions in response to changed situations. There's a hierarchy involved.
Right, yeah, the hierarchy. Okay. I didn't know they were normal questions. Sorry, I'll make sure to ask next time, but, what do we do about the machine now?
10 frowned and watched the amber lights flash faster and faster.
Well, has the whistling stopped?
I think so. There was no mention of whistling after the beginning of my conversation with the operator.
That's good. It's normal for there to not be whistling. We actually may be able to fix this yet.
That's good. I didn't know if you were going to be able to fix it.
It is good. It's very important to fix it.
I agree. What do I do? Or what do I tell the operator to do?
Well, does the operator have a broken toe?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, do you have a broken toe?
Let me check.
The voice checked their toes. It took several seconds, which was understandable. The voice could have had any number of toes to check, really, but normally it was a non-trivial number.
My toes appear to be normal.
Oh, that is normal, and from what I understand then, the machine is just out of whistle fuel. Someone's just going to have to climb inside the machine, fill the whistle fuel back up, and it can begin whistling again. And then it will whistle, and the amber lights will stop blinking, and it will whistle again, and there will be a click, and the gears will stop, and it will whistle again, and there will be another click, and the gears will start like a clock, but it will whistle again, the lights will turn green, and then it will whistle a final time. And that final whistle is an indication that everything is normal and the important work is once again getting done.
Okay. So... Oh, wait. So you're saying I should call the operator back and tell him to climb inside the machine and fill the whistle fuel?
10 shook their head sadly.
Unfortunately, the operator is not normal. They have a broken toe. You are going to have to climb inside of the machine and fill that whistle fuel, and then call the operator to let them know that everything is normal.
10 hung up the phone. Somewhere far away, on an entirely different level of the machine, the person who answers the emergency phone was climbing into the machine to fill the whistle fuel. 10 had no idea how far away this was happening. The machine went on for miles and miles. Some said it had no end. But 10 thought they could hear distant screaming, and a few seconds later, the whistle played once more. Soon, everything was back to normal, and all of the important work was once again getting done. 10 sat back down, sighed contentedly, put the manual away, and went back to watching the monitors. Their toes still hurt terribly, but their stomach felt much better. Blood was dripping from the ceiling. They had been trained to ignore that. As you can see, the system always works, even in the most extreme of circumstances. Story Machine is property of Network Against the Machine, LLC. All rights reserved. Normal was written by Sam W. Tennyson and performed by Sam, Zach, and Izzy. See the show notes for additional sound credits.
Yay! did it.
Yay. Perfect. Ad libby.
Awesome. Nailed it. I will let you know when I get our Oscar invite in the mail. I should stop recording.
Wait, are you here? Can you hear me?